is Ballyboe Faye's very own young Keelan Brown, and a track that's going to be on a forthcoming album, of which isn't as such finished yet, but maybe we'll weasel it out of him here tonight. He joins me in the studio. Keelan, it's lovely to see you back again.
Thanks very much, Tommy. It's great to be back, and yeah, I have a new album coming out, and looking forward to it. So.
It wasn't that long since you were here last, and I must say I like your little style. You've changed. You have a little tash on coming on.
Some would say that's just me being lazy, but no, I'm just. I took a wee bit of inspiration from Zach Top you were playing earlier on.
Yeah,
so,
he is a tash as well.
Yeah, he's a tash, so I can't grow a full beard, so the only thing I could resort to was a mustache.
I can't grow hair. Never mind. How are things anyway? Since you were last up, Keelan, you're after bringing out a new single, which we'll be playing in a while, and I'll ask you about that later on. But how have things been going on the music scene since you were up with me last?
Yeah, it was. I think I recall it was the last time I was up was the week before Clonmany Festival. I think it was what it was. So
that long back. God,
yeah, I think it was just the first week of August, and yeah, it was really really busy up until New Year's, and this year I just decided that. I'm going to take it a wee bit easier because I found a lot of time last year that I had no real time to be 21 as well. So I thought I would take it a little bit easier and just see what comes in the door and take the opportunities as they come.
Yeah, I remember a couple of years back you were on Glore Chair, and I think did you get sick or something? You had to pull out of it near the end, or was it COVID?
No, the narrative was pushed that I gave the cast COVID and that I broke COVID rules. But what happened really was I think at the time you were allowed 6 people from your bubble, and my bubble was obviously my friends from school who were in my class who who I was around every day at school with anyways. Yeah. And they had come down to the house and it was the right number of people. And we done our shed up at the house, and it looked like we were out partying because there was a big beer barrel. And
yeah, you actually see that on Facebook.
So it was just the way that it was pushed, and they turned around and somebody, I think, maybe out of spite, just wanted to get me off the show, and it was something that I had to learn very very quick to deal with because it was at the time it was very detrimental to me because I was still so young, and it was my first experience in music. But I think all in all, I would if I had the choice to go and win the show and everything go clear and do it now all over again, I would probably do the exact same thing again because I learned very quickly how to deal with everybody talking and everybody having their opinion and everybody not knowing the real story behind it. So. It's just, I always said before I went on the show when I was doing different interviews and things, I said that, no matter how far I got in the show, it was never going to be the end all and be all of my career. It'll be down to my determination and whatever I want to do in music, and that's proven to be what it's been so far. So, and a lot of the time on that show I had a lot of support, and they all stood by me. So it was great, and I still see those people out and about coming to gigs and different things. So there was, in my opinion, I look at it as all positive,
Yeah, it's great. The great thing about Glore Chair, though, I always said it to a few other people who actually were on it. You don't have to win it. The exposure, if people see you and they see the talent you have, it comes through yourself. Like if you have the talent, it's going to come through, and it's just a matter of it happening quite. And the funny thing about the Irish music business at the moment, and I think it myself, is that there seems to be a closed circuit, and it's very hard for young entertainers to get through that. It seems to be a certain, like I watched the old late, well, I don't actually watch the late show, but when they have the country late shows on, you could nearly name from year to year who's going to be on it. And young artists like yourself, or it might be Olivia Douglas or Chelsea Evans or somebody like that, it's hard to break through. But when you do eventually break through, you're grand,
Yeah, it is. Don't get me wrong. It is very hard, and I think especially being young, we're not seasoned artists. We're not, we're not stars yet, or if we're destined to be stars, then we will. But to me, it's you've always got to work hard, but I also feel that you should be given some of your flowers as you go along as well. And I think it's very it's very hard in our scene because it's not the way it was 30, 40 years ago where you had a dancing lounge every 5, 10 miles and a dance hall every 10, 20 miles. It was now it's you could count maybe on two hands the main dance halls across the country. And it's very hard, and it is a lot of dedication to get round to doing them.
Yeah.
And it's a kind of like a bit of a ladder to kind of get to know the people who you need to contact. But look, I think it's something that it definitely should be given a lot more thought. Definitely, when it comes to promoters, I think it's not just the same faces all the time. People don't want to see the same faces all the time. You could almost pick out every 4 to 5 weeks who's going to be in which big dance halls. And
That's right.
people get fed up with that. The numbers drop. And I think that, regardless of what the promoters think, I think it should be down to what they think the people will like. And I think if the young singers are good enough, then they will show that they're more than capable of being in that ballpark.
Yeah, and what I find about that, not just promoters, but the Irish public are funny. They'd have maybe 5 or 6 people that they would like, and if there's somebody new coming on, they won't go and see them unless they know who you are. Because I know a promoter now, a man who owns a bar over in Ardra, Pat McGill. Pat brings some great artists, bluegrass or country artists that might even be from America, and he tries like hell to promote them. And some nights there, I'd been over it a few nights now, and there might be a small crowd. And the main thing is, Pat would say, people don't know who they are, and he's trying hard to bring in somebody new. And it's if people would just give the artist a chance. But getting back to yourself, you'd have had a musical, your family would have a musical background. Your dad and your granddad played music, and would that have influenced you?
Oh yeah, I mean, country was always going to be a part of my life. Whether I liked it or not, truth be told, and it was always on in the background, and eventually I came to the forefront of it. And when my voice broke, I realized that I could sing Josh Turner's "Your Man," and it was a really difficult song to do because it's such a deep voice, and I realized I could kind of do that when I was around 12 and 13 years of age, and it just kind of developed from there because I tried different songs out, and it was more just a passion than anything else. And I was able to get input then from my mum or from my dad or from my granda, or all my family who listened to country music. They'd say that certain songs would suit my voice, and certain people as well that my granda or my mum or my dad would have met throughout country music. They those people as well would have sent them messages saying, I think this song would be really, really good for myself. And obviously I didn't get round to doing a lot of them because it does take a lot of money to do the things right. And if I decided that I would like to wait a wee while and just kind of suss out what I wanted to do first, and then once I kind of knew and nailed down, okay, this is what I want to do, then it was just head steam then straight into the country music scene. So thankfully it's been going great so far. I've had a lot of great opportunities, and looking forward now to another year and hopefully a lot more opportunities.
And you toured abroad, didn't you, with the country music, kind of a tribute to the country music acts. How did that come about?
Yeah, so James McGarry is probably one of the top promoters in Ireland. He runs so many different events and tours, and continues to do so as well. And he's the owner of Celtic Storm Band as well. And I think it was around the time I'd maybe just had a few gigs in the Allingham, and it was actually Paddy Bradley was one of the people who mentioned to James he was looking for an act. I was to follow in Joe Moore's footsteps, and it's no easy shoes to fill, but he just thought that my voice and he gave me the opportunity to grow into the role of touring over in Scotland and England, and I sang a lot of the classic country songs, and I grew up on those songs, and being able to do that in front of packed crowds every night and see a bit more of the world at such a young age and meet new people was probably one of the best experiences that I've had up to date. So I'm very, very grateful for that, and I just decided this year that I would like to be at home more, and I just a new path formed for me now. So hopefully the dancing scene will lift up again, and hopefully we can all get a share of success out of it.
Yeah, the first I heard of you back in the day was when I heard "Hello, darling," and I couldn't believe it for such a young lad to have a voice that could do that. The Conway Twitty song. We just actually played one there that's going to be on a forthcoming album of yours. I'd love to lay me down. That's the Conway Twitty song.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think he's the third most number one hits in country music history, but yet he's not a member of the Grand Ole Opry because he had a rock and roll background.
That's right.
You know, so I just thought, you know, I think with Conway Twitty, myself, I love listening to all his stuff, you know, and he has different styles of stuff. And I think he actually recorded Danny Boy as well.
That's what I was just going to say
years
to you.
ago,
Did you
yeah.
hear his version of Danny
I
Boy?
did. I heard his version of Danny Boy. I think Elvis recorded it as well.
Yeah, he starts the first verse off slow and then he goes.
He goes nuts then.
Some people who like the slower version of Danny Boy say, "Holy God, what has he done to it?"
But no, in terms of Conway Twitty, he's not the only one that you know that I'd have great inspiration from. But I liked how he didn't really care what people thought, and people were probably a bit more judgy than they are now back in those days.
Yeah,
you know, especially being country is a traditional thing. It's people like the tradition of it. They don't like change, and he brought about change, and because he was able to do it as good, if not better, than most of the people doing it. You know, there was probably slight jealousy there, but he ended up with, as I think, don't quote me on it now, I think it is the third most number one hits in country music history. So I thought that one would be a great one to do, and I like to do an upbeat version of it. I went up and recorded with Wayne Golden, who actually he plays with Jimmy Buckley.
Oh yeah, I know.
And
I know
great ear for music, very creative guy, very nice guy as well. And I just immediately felt very comfortable, and I like to see and hear his ideas of what he wanted to do with different songs, not just copy and paste of what the originals were. So we done a more upbeat version of it now, and it'll be on my next album, along with I call the album Country Classics. So it's just all my favorite country songs of all time, you know.
And the very important thing about that too, Keelan, is you know, doing it right, recording it right. Now, your new single, I think, did you do it up with Brian?
I did. I recorded it up with Brian. It was actually a friend of mine, Al McQualkin. Al
is a steel player with Mike Denver, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And Al said he sent me a message one day, and I was wondering, I wonder what this would be, you know, because it'd normally be interesting if Al sends you a wee message. Yeah. So he sent me a message, and it was the song. And it was a friend of his from Derry wrote it. I can't remember the guy's name now. I must figure it out. But he sent me the song, and I listened to it, and there was a few things that I wanted to make my own changes to, but 90% of the song is the way that it was, and I thought it'd be great to do with Brian, and Brian does a fantastic job there as well up in the studio, and a great fella. He helps me out a lot as well, you know, and getting gigs and different things, you know. So he's a great fella, and definitely if anybody out there, and especially in Donegal, if you're really looking to get into the studio, hop in with Brian. You know, he's a gentleman, makes you feel comfortable, and puts out an absolutely cracker recording.
When I heard the new single first, I was thinking away to myself, who recorded that song? Who was the original song? And I was thinking of Midland, and I said, no, it's not Midland. They did something similar, but it wasn't that. And I was trying to
Mr.
think.
Lonely, I think.
And it's only when you told me there tonight that it was it. But you know, we were talking about Al, great steel guitar player. Mm-hmm. There's only one fault Al has. Oh. He supports Arsenal.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, you see the Facebook post going up every now and
again.
I
do have to laugh whenever Arsenal don't do well. I was like, get rid of him.
We'll stick to the.
But no, he's a great musician, and he can do anything on the guitar or steel. But
brilliant guy.
Arsenal, you'd think he'd know better, wouldn't you?
You think man is that much success and expertise, you know, and in the music scene, you think he would carry a bit of that into the football scene, you know.
And was it only Mr. Heartbreak you did up with Brian? Did you do the album down with the other lad?
I did. So I recorded my album up with Wayne Golden. I think it just at the time I was just kind of figuring out what I could get from different producers. I was working down in Roscommon with a guy called Wayne Thoreau's for a long time, and I think one of the things that I learned from my experiences was that I need to go out and see what different people offer, and how to find my own sound. I think it's definitely something that I think every young singer should do, is go and experience different people, and whoever you feel most comfortable with, then
fair play
you can have your loyalty towards them then,
Yeah.
So so I recorded my album up with Wayne Golden, and a few touch-ups now I'm going to do on it now before I get it released, and I've obviously have the new single now. I just was away getting the photo shoot done today, and I was freezing myself off up in Port Salon getting the photos done.
And have you got a title for the new album yet?
Yeah, Country Classics.
Oh, that's
so
right.
It's Country Classics. So
well, yeah, you've given me a sneak preview of a few of the songs, and it's going to be great.
Hope so. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
I'm away. The last album, your first album, there was some great song choice in that. I loved the version you did of the Hank Williams Junior melody. That wasn't an easy thing to do, and you had 5 or 6 songs rattling off one after the other, and it sounded very good, because Hank Junior did them as well.
Yeah, Hank Williams, in my opinion, I don't think country today would be what it is without Hank Williams Senior. I think if he had the lifespan of the likes of someone like Willie Nelson, then you imagine the amount of hit songs that he would have. You think of Hey Good Looking and Jambalaya and different songs that are still played today. And I think he definitely was getting a feature on my album anyways, big influence.
It's amazing how many young people look up to Hank Williams, because I had, who do you call him up here a couple of weeks ago, too, young Alistair Spencer, and Alistair was singing the praises of Hank Williams, and it's amazing that the older people, how many young people are being inspired by him as well. Who else? What about Darryl Singletree? Have you come across Darryl Singletree's music?
Yeah, I definitely have something that that's funny you say that, because there's a version he did of Dim Lights Thick Smoke.
Great,
absolutely brilliant song. So I have a few things in the pipeline along those kind of roads, but definitely Darryl Singletary and Rhonda Vincent. You could listen to the two of them sing together all day long, and
that American Grandstand album was a really good album.
I look through a lot of the time that I find is sometimes I need to bring myself back to why I love country music so much, and to find different inspiration as well. I love going on to the likes of on YouTube Larry's Country Diner or the family reunion that they have, and it's so amazing, that you see just raw talent right in front of you, and I think that's something that would be great to have here in Ireland.
Come here, have you ever been over to Nashville?
I haven't.
You'd
been
love
over
it.
to Nashville.
You'd love it. You'd love it.
I don't think it would be safe for me to go to Nashville. I don't think I would ever
wouldn't
want
come
to
back.
come home.
You wouldn't come back.
No,
you'd be signed up out over there. If you would have heard that.
I don't know, but you never know in the future. I definitely have to go to Nashville at some point, But I always kind of had the mindset of somewhere that I wanted to work in the future. I wanted to make sure that I was ready to go, even if it's big dreams that I have. I would love to at least have the best preparation if my luck struck, So I'll be going over now in the next couple of years for sure.
Come here, are you gigging anywhere this weekend?
I'm in the Clanree on Sunday night with Declan Ernie and John McNichol. So I would say hopefully now the weather only lasts on Friday night, and it goes away. So I'll be looking forward to another great gig, another finally getting on the big stage in the Clanree. So
Well, I'm going to play Mr. Heartache now, or Mr. Heartbreak now. Will I dedicate it to anybody?
I'm not going to say my girlfriend this time.
Wife?
Well, she's on the path to it, alright. But I'll dedicate the new single to Agnes' sisters. I'll dedicate it to them. Donna Marie and Catherine, who are tuned in up on a hilly up there in Buncrana. So.
Good old spot of hilly. It's a good old spot.
It is.
Keelan, thanks for popping up. It's been lovely talking to you, and we'll have you back as soon as the album is out, and we'll be playing a few spins of it as well.
No bother. Thank you, Tommy.
Take care of yourself.
Well, here comes Mr. Heartache, just strolling down our street. The guys, they all avoid him, the girls drop